Some simply call them planting seeds or life's little secrets. If you plant honesty, you will reap trust. If you plant goodness, you will reap friends. If you plant humility, you will reap greatness. If you plant perseverance, you will reap victory. If you plant consideration, you will reap harmony. If you plant hard work, you will reap success. If you plant forgiveness, you will reap reconciliation. And if you plant faith, well, you just might reap miracles. Since the fall of 2010, elementary counselors Lauren Aponte, Kathie Huisenfeldt, Monica Loyce, and Nicole Pablo have been meticulously planting seeds here in the Oceanside Unified School District. Hired through a federal grant provided by the U.S. Department of Education, the foursome has worked during the past 3 years to produce a bountiful crop of successful students, productive citizens, and future leaders. As a former elementary teacher, Kathie Huisenfeldt knows that whether it's in the classroom or the counseling office, the job is always about kids.
Coming to school every day and seeing smiling faces and these little kids trudging their backpacks up the sidewalk and coming to school, that's the best part. I love working with children.
And with every child lugging backpacks and school books comes a suitcase full of stories, some good and some not so good.
I don't think you could be in this position unless you loved people's stories and listening to that story come together. I mean, that's part of why I love my job. I get to hear everybody's story, and every story has so many amazing parts to it.
And sometimes it's the stories of those doing the listening that provide the strongest resource to help plant the seeds of nourishment and encouragement.
Sometimes we can be happy, and then there's a situation, and then we might feel sad.
I know that's the challenge, just to being able to pick up your bags and go somewhere, or not having clean clothes, wearing the same shorts or the same pants, or wearing, washing your underwear and hanging them up in the stove. I know what that feels like and I know how some of our kids feel. And so I empathize with that.
Her parents divorced when she was only 3 months old. Monica knows firsthand what many kids today experience growing up without a dad.
My father was a crack addict, and he didn't come back into my life until I graduated high school. The day I graduated high school was probably the first time I seen him continuously in a very long time.
On any campus, in any school district, similar and countless other tales of troubled home life abound. For counselors like Lauren Aponte, many of these stories easily find their way into her office.
A lot of kids come to me for issues dealing with things that are going on at home, whether they don't have a structured home life, or maybe they're living with relatives or living at Women's Resource Center, because we have a lot of kids that live at the Women's Resource Center. Also, we have had kids at Casa de Amparo and at other shelters. So if they don't have a structured family life, they look at me as part of their structure, and of course their teachers and our whole staff here at Palmquist.
In the world of elementary school counseling, helping kids is all about the team effort and the concept of collaboration.
I see a perspective, I see parts of the student and parts of the student's family that the teachers may or may not get a chance to see because they're in a classroom full of so many students. So being able to relay that information, that'll help benefit the student's learning and the teacher as well.
For an elementary school principal, the mere aspect of having a school counselor can easily equate to changing a campus culture and providing life-changing skills.
I think the number one thing that our kids benefit from in having a counselor is that they're learning those life skills so that they know how to be successful, both in a classroom, with other adults, with their families, with other kids.
To plant the seeds of success, it starts with the 3 R's: relationships, relationships, relationships.
I start really simple, playing games, especially with the younger kids, getting to know them, really understanding them. I'll do some observations in the class. I'll go out at recess and touch base with them and become their friend so that they know that they can trust me before I get down to the deep stuff that, that's really going to help them succeed.
While the faces, names, and situations may change, the relationship concept remains the same at every school site.
Because if I'm not able to build that relationship, I'm not able to reach those students in that classroom capacity. I can hang out with them and talk to them and work with them on the playground, but if we don't see eye to eye and we're not able to collaborate in the classroom with the teacher, I might not be able to service them as well.
If you agree with Alex's answer, I agree wholeheartedly.
As most educators know, simply noticing a child can be the catalyst that leads to a life-changing connection.
Kids notice when you notice them. Like, somebody noticed me. They know who I am. They know that I'm a new student, and they know they're taking the time to tour me around campus. They're taking the time to take me to meet the lunch lady. They're taking the time to show me my classroom and show me the library. Those small nuggets of time make a difference for some of our kids.
And nuggets or seeds in the shape of a warm smile or a sincere greeting can make all the difference in the world.
Some kids don't have someone just saying good morning to you. They don't have someone just saying, hi, hello, I'm glad to see you today. Welcome to school today. They don't have someone that's cheerleading them, that's encouraging them to do well. They sometimes have people who are expecting them to fail.
Palmquist Elementary 4th grader Grace Butterfield has no doubts that Miss A is her constant cheerleader.
Sometimes teachers can't help you and they say, talk to me about it after class, and they don't have time because you need to go to prep or Boys and Girls Club, so we can't really talk about it, and so we go to Miss Aponte.
And the same goes for classmates Talia Thompson and Brenna Allen.
She just takes it as we're her kids and stuff, and she's helping us as
because she doesn't want anything bad to happen to us.
From classroom instruction to group and individual sessions, the spectrum is as wide as it is never-ending for elementary school counselors.
She just makes me feel really comfortable talking about what's been going on, and it feels like she just knows how I feel and she knows how she can help.
Many times, help extends beyond the individual child and into the family setting. Having recently lost his wife of 13 years, San Luis Rey parent Keith Phelps has relied on the efforts of Kathie Huisenfeldt for support with his 4th and 5th grade daughters.
Nicole, my youngest, she's having a really rough time. So I think having Kathie here at the school absolutely is a benefit for her. And I mean, it's a benefit for my daughter to help her get through the passing of her mother, but also it benefits me because I know that she has somebody that she can talk to that she trusts at the school.
Part of that trust is found in the plan that Kathie implemented to help Nicole work through a child's worst nightmare.
I know it's rough when you come in the morning. You're going to help out in kinder for a good 20 minutes, get your mind off things, transition to class, attend for the teaching section, take your work and work with your sister for the next hour. Come and have lunch with me. Help me out on the kinder playground with kids that I need, or just read a book quietly in the classroom and then transition back. And so that's kind of where we've come with her, and this is a safe place for her to come if she can't make it in class, because that's a really tough thing to go through.
From a lack of basic necessities to a toxic home life, physical and emotional abuse, flexibility is key for school counselors who live daily expecting the unexpected.
I will show flexibility to today and every day. Be willing to change your actions for success.
This month, our key is flexibility, and I always say that's probably the biggest aspect of my job is flexibility, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if there's going to be a crisis that day, if there's going to be a shooting, if a family's going to be uplifted, maybe a parent's going to be sent out of the country, maybe someone passed away, maybe there's a divorce. It could be anything. I mean, every day is a different day, so you just never know what you're going to deal with.
As a former HR recruiter for SeaWorld, Monica Loyce often relies on some of her business savvy when working with her Del Rio students.
Before I make an action, I have to think first. Is this the right thing to do?
I've learned that you have to be flexible. You have to really be open to adjusting your eyes to seeing one family or one student as cookie cutter, and knowing that what might work for one child is not necessarily going to work for another child.
For Monica, the everyday challenges of elementary school counseling resemble strong trees that can weather any storm.
A tree is rooted and planted, right? And there might be things that happen, there might be tragedies, there might be crises that might shake them a little bit, but they're still there.
Or, as Nicole believes, working with elementary students is oftentimes a therapeutic experience when dealing with an array of feelings.
Empowering the students with the skills to deal with whatever challenges they may face, problem-solving skills, just the skills so that they can cope with whatever they're going to face in the future.
More often than not, the future is now, when children are forced to deal with issues completely out of their control. Take Libby's Jeremiah Terrell Bradley. This sharp 5th grader has relied on Miss Pablo for help dealing with his parents' separation and issues of racism.
To me, Miss Pablo is more than a counselor. She's actually a way of life. She tells me, don't worry about what other people say about you. You're you. No one can change that about you. I used to have racial problems around. People called me chocolate pudding or the chocolate bar, the chocolate man. And I didn't like it. She actually got me to speak up to the people who were mean. And she actually got them to talk to me too on why they were doing it.
For Jeremiah's classmate Kalani Hardaway, She knew she struck gold the moment she met Miss Pablo.
And then right out the gate, I knew it was going to be a good start.
You knew? How did you know?
Because when you look at a person, you don't look about what they wear or what their face looks like. You look about what's in the heart and if they care, if they don't care, and if they know what you're going through and what you're doing.
My birthday's coming up. So, what? Am I invited?
Yeah.
Oh! Is it at the park?
It's been really great because I finally get to speak to someone about my problems and know that they care and that they understand.
Now close your eyes and raise your hand if you want to play some of the activities on the kinder playground.
Understanding, listening, empathy, some of the most widely used terms for an elementary school counselor.
Every interaction with a child revolves around empathy. You know, when a kid hits another kid, when someone says something mean to somebody, it's every conversation is a learning point. It's a teaching point.
Other times, it's a way to say, I'm here for you, as Lauren does with one second grade student, Ariel. Born to a teen mother addicted to illicit drugs, Ariel's adopted parents, Brett Bartels and Armando Haruki, have come to rely on Lauren's guidance in keeping Ariel calm when coping with stressful situations.
Ariel and Lauren have built a rapport so that Lauren has now become her primary support for when she does start to, or something happens that she would trigger or have a meltdown.
According to Ariel's parents, it's all about the team working in the best interest of their daughter.
With the teachers, they can't take away their time to focus on just this one child, no matter if it's Ariel or somebody else. If there isn't that secondary support within the elementary school, then things would be a lot more difficult.
Putting on a crisis hat and helping de-escalate a situation makes the classroom a happier place for students and teachers.
Teacher can't teach. The other students are so focused on the other student. They're either becoming aggressive and throwing chairs or hurting others, or they're crying on the ground and won't get up and they're making such a big scene. My role is to go in there, calm the situation down, calm the student down.
Libby first grade teacher Julio Lopez fully appreciates the efforts of Nicole and understands that helping to control an immediate situation is only the first step.
I can de-escalate in my classroom, but that student will need follow-up immediately, not 2 days from now, not filling out a slip and getting a week from now. He or she would need intervention there as soon as possible, and that's what she provides, and that's how it makes my job easier, and it makes my job more successful and my students more successful and safer.
Del Rio elementary psychologist Miguel Aguirre works with many of the same students as counselor Monica Loyce.
I think a lot of us were overwhelmed in a lot of ways with trying to support students, families, the school in general. And when Monica came on board, she was able to take on some of those roles, with students, being there consistently.
For Del Rio parent Brett Randell, she has experienced Monica's patience with her own children and many others.
If you ever walked with Miss Loyce on a regular day, she knows every kid by name. And I once mentioned to her, Miss Loyce, how do you know all these kids' names? She says, these are my family. So she's like family. She's not just a counselor here. She gives us hope here at Del Rio.
Hope in the classroom and on the playground. From Peace Patrol squads assisting fellow classmates with issues on bullying, anger management, conflict resolution, and peer mediation, to second step group lessons focusing on violence prevention, it all boils down to changing culture and changing values.
At this level, prevention, getting them ready for things in the future, teaching them about bullying now so that when they get to middle school, they're prepared for it, teaching them self-confidence and I messages and say no to drugs. I think that stuff is so important at this level so that once they get to middle school and high school, they've already had it in their head.
But as these counselors know so very well, patience is indeed a virtue. The payoff for what they are doing is all in the planting, with seeds that grow in different ways and at different times.
How rewarding is it when you have a middle schooler that comes back, and this is a middle schooler who was getting referrals every week, was getting suspended, was known as having a bad attitude, and this kid comes back and they're involved in the choir, and they're playing sports, and they're happy, and their affect is different. And I think a lot of that is relationship building.
For one of Monica's former students, it's a seed planted and blooming in the most vibrant and positive ways.
One of my kids, for example, last year, intense difficulties. He's at the middle school. His mom called and said, we haven't had any issues. He hasn't been suspended once this year, and I thank you. And that kind of blew me away. And I was excited, I was thrilled, and I was so happy because I said, I'm so thankful that it came, but in his time.
And when the light starts to flicker, well, the payoff is worth the wait.
I'm having to pause because I feel like I'm feeling that feeling, and it's I can't even describe it. When you see that light come on, you see how excited they are. You hear later that they shared it with their family, so they're that excited that they want to share the positive news and their success.
What we're hoping is because they've had that type of guidance and that kind of support at a young age, they're going to be much less at risk as they go through middle school and high school for the sorts of problems that counselors and other professionals end up spending a lot of time with as the children get older.
Like most things in life with value, there's no easy road or shortcuts in the world of elementary school counseling. More often than not, the job never ends.
I go home with a lot on my shoulders because you can't forget about these kids. You can't forget about the things that they bring to you. And even if you know them for a short period of time, you want to protect them and you want to take care of them.
There's no cutoff time as far as when we're working, when we're always thinking about the kids. And you're not in the school counseling field because you're in for the money, you're in because you're passionate and you want to support and make those positive changes.
It is very difficult, and it's hard not to take it home with you. Anybody that works in education, we take on the burden of these children and their families, and it's hard not to take that. But there has to be, at times that balance, because we have to be professional for them. We have to be a strong person for them.
It was once said, to get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. For Kathie, Lauren, Nicole, and Monica, elementary school counseling is a stepping stone to the future, the planting of the seeds that can one day change the world.
Elementary school counselors are change agents. They are also individuals that are leaders, and they're individuals that will really help to put that puzzle together. And so I see myself as the individual who's putting some pieces together.